$212. That's what's left in your account 3 days before payday. Not your savings. You don't have savings. Your checking account, the one that's supposed to stretch until the 1st, and it's already running on fumes. You're 25. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, phone in hand, scrolling through your banking app the way you do every few days, half checking, half avoiding. Your salary is $52,000 a year. That's $4,333 a month before taxes, which becomes $3,540 after everything gets taken out. Rent is $1,100. Phone bill $85. Car payment $260. Student loan minimum $190. Groceries $380. Subscriptions you forgot you signed up for: Spotify, 2 streaming apps, a fitness app you open twice, $47. That leaves you roughly $1,478. But your statement shows you spent almost all of it, and you genuinely can't account for where $300 of it went. It's not dramatic. That's the part that makes it hard to sit with. There's no single bad decision, just a dozen small ones that never register as real money. A delivery fee here, or treat yourself, purchase there. None of it feels like anything, until you add. You close the app. You sit in the quiet of your room and something shifts. Not panic, just a kind of tired clarity. You're 25. You have time, but you also know that time only helps you if you actually use it. Here's what nobody tells you at 25. You are not behind, but you are standing at the exact point where the next 10 years will either compound in your favor or quietly slip past you the same way the last 3 did. If you invest $300 a month starting now and average a 9% annual return, by the time you're 60, you'll have close to $900,000. That number isn't motivation. It's arithmetic. It doesn't care how you feel about it. It just sits there, waiting for you to start feeding it or ignore it. But $300 a month means something has to give first. It means finding where the leak is. It means looking at your subscriptions without flinching. It means admitting that the version of you at 40 matters more than the version of you ordering takeout for nights this week. The first goal isn't retirement. It's not even an emergency fund yet. It's $1,000 sitting untouched, saved on purpose, not left over by accident. You cancel 2 subscriptions. $30 back. You start meal prepping on Sundays instead of ordering out on weeknights. Roughly $140 a month. You sell an old gaming console gathering dust in your closet. $180. You switch your phone plan to something cheaper. $25 a month saved. 6 weeks later, you check your account. $1,050. You don't tell anyone. There's no one to explain it to who would understand why a number this small feels this important. But something loosens in your chest. Proof that direction can change, even in a life that felt stuck a month ago. At 29, a friend leases a new car. He doesn't call it a lease, he calls it basically owning it, and changes the subject fast. You've done enough of this math by now to know what $520 a month for 5 years actually costs, and roughly what he earns. Those two numbers sitting next to each other tell a story he hasn't let himself read yet. You feel the pull of it too, sitting in the passenger seat once, the new car smell, the quiet hum of the cabin. A voice in your head says, "You've been disciplined for years now, don't you deserve this?" You notice the voice. You don't argue with it or shame yourself for having it. You let it pass, because you've learned the difference between wanting something and wanting it on a schedule that actually works for you. You drive home in your 6-year-old sedan and feel something closer to clarity than envy. You know exactly what you're doing, and WHY.AT30, you get a raise that pushes your salary from $61,000 to $71,000. This is the moment that quietly decides whether the last 5 years actually meant something. Your brain, the second the new number hits your account, starts pricing out a bigger apartment, a nicer car, a life that matches the number. You catch yourself scrolling apartment listings, $400 more a month for an extra room you'd barely use. You close the tab. Instead, you raise your retirement contribution by the exact percentage of your raise, and you never see that money long enough to miss it. Your lifestyle on paper looks almost the same as the year before. Internally, you just pulled your entire timeline forward by roughly 3 years, and nobody watching your life from the outside would ever know. Your investment account crosses $40,000 on an ordinary Tuesday. You check the app out of habit rather than anxiety, the way you have for years now. You go back to work. You eat lunch at your desk, but the number sits with you all day, quiet and warm. At 31, your sibling calls, careful and rehearsed, the way people sound when they've practiced what they are about to say. Their car broke down and they need $800 they don't have. 3 years earlier, that call would have meant a quiet calculation of which card to use, how many months it would take to pay it off, a private shame about not being able to help cleanly. This time, you just say, "I've got it." You transfer the money the next day without touching your investments, without going into debt, without losing sleep over it. What stays with you isn't the $800. It's the sentence you said without hesitation. That, more than any number in any account, is the first moment you understand what this was always for. Not a balance, capacity. The ability to say yes to the people you love without it costing you your footing. At 32, you and your partner sit down for the first time and combine your finances after 3 years together. It is nowhere near as romantic as it sounds. It's a Wednesday night at the kitchen table with 2 laptops open. You find out they are carrying $6,000 in credit card debt they never mentioned. They find out you've been quietly padding your emergency fund without telling them how much was actually in it, partly out of habit, partly out of an old fear of not having enough. There's a version of that night where it turns into a fight. It almost does, for a few tense minutes. Instead, you both go quiet, then start building a shared spreadsheet, tab by tab, the way you built your own years earlier. You agree on $300 a month going toward their debt until it's gone. You stop hiding purchases from each other, not because anyone demanded it, but because hiding them had quietly been costing you both more than money ever could. 14 months later, the debt is gone. You didn't do it alone. Wealth built with another person stops being a private spreadsheet and starts being a shared language, and learning T. By 33, your credit card is paid off completely, a small balance that had quietly followed you since college, finally gone. You have a fully funded emergency fund, a maxed Roth IRA, and a taxable brokerage account you started almost by accident. And here's the part nobody says out loud. You feel a specific kind of quiet distance from friends who spend everything they earn without seeming to notice, and from others who've made peace with a retirement plan built on vague hope. You've tried bringing it up gently. It rarely lands. People change their relationship with money alone, at their own kitchen table, staring at their own numbers, the way you once did. By 35, 10 years after that $212 night, you check your account on an ordinary morning before coffee. $142,000. Not financially free by any internet definition, but 35 years old with real, working, liquid wealth built from a decade of small, unglamorous decisions. Built from cancelled subscriptions and switched funds and one honest night when you finally stopped looking away. You didn't inherit it. You weren't lucky in any way that explains it. You started small, you automated the behavior before the motivation ever fully showed up, and you kept going through every moment that would have justified stopping. It never felt like a number. It felt like paying for breaks without your stomach dropping. It felt like surviving a round of layoffs without collapsing. It felt like telling your sibling, "I've got it," and meaning every word. Most of all, it felt like realizing the future had quietly stopped being something that happened to you, and became something you were still building, one transfer at a time.